Hello all, and welcome to Proudland, where it is all proud. And
half of me.
Not half of you, half of me.
Proudland.
I've done that ever since the start, and I just continue with it.
I know it's good. It's something I can copy.
Hello, and I am Roland, and with me is my co-host Proud. How are you, Proud?
Late. Good.
So I already asked you how the holidays were on Tuesday, so I'm not gonna ask again. But hey,
yeah, never ask me again.
I won't. I learned my lesson. But you got a good hat, and I saw the Twitter image. I wanted to follow up with you on that.
That tweet. Yeah. So the hat is great. I've gotten numerous compliments on my hat. Well, every time I've donned it upon my dome. It's been great.
I wanted to compliment it just then, but it seems like if you've received so many compliments,
you don't want to just.
I don't want to be like 20th in line. Yeah. So.
Then you'll just all blend together, and then you'll be in the friend zone, and you won't be able to date me and get my sweet honey cakes.
No, I picture that happening later on. You know, we get set up, we get established, we can do like a double family thing. You know what I mean? Like, you're where the headquarters is for .p, and you know, we have a wonderful.
Is that like a Mormon thing, or you're from Utah? I don't know if you picked up a weird habit or something.
No, I think it's me wanting your love and affection thing more than it is a state thing.
No, yeah, I'm used to that. Okay.
Yeah. I felt like the second we met, we got along really well. We both saw each other's strengths and weaknesses, and we were okay with that.
We both played Dota. We had that in common.
We did have that in common, and I think
that's the only requirement I have at this point.
Well, that's gonna be maybe not that hard. You play on your college as a team, so I don't know. A lot of female Dota players. I not even have to be female, I guess.
As long as they're a Dota player, I'm set.
Yeah, you're like the female thing isn't even
discriminatory at this point.
The female thing's like sixth on the list. It's Dota, good food, good music, watches anime. Are you big into the anime thing? That's a question I've never asked.
They just need to not hate Evangelion. That's really, I know it's Evangelion, but it just sounds better for say Evangelion, which I know is a big thing that immediately you said. Oh man, no, that's Evangelion.
I don't even know what that is. What is that?
It's an anime that kind of how can I say, redefined the mecha genre of anime, if I do say so myself. It's sort of a deconstruction, the Watchmen of anime, if I do say so myself.
Okay, so I can take that, the Watchmen of anime. I understand now the levity.
Yeah, kind of. It takes all like all the archetypes and kind of flips them on their head, and it's like, is this what you want? This is how it would work. Your waifu is shit. It's honestly so fucking good. But a lot of people just see it and they're like, why is everyone weird? This is weird. Why does everyone? Evangelion's fucking great though.
Yeah. So my introduction, we'll go on this tangent for a second, to anything animated was Miyazaki, and it was Princess Mononoke.
It's great.
And my
your wife reminds me a lot of Princess Mononoke.
Yes.
I don't know your wife at all, so that actually means nothing.
Well, nobody really knew Princess Mononoke either. You know what I mean? Except
no.
You don't know what I mean.
Except for the wolves.
Yeah, except for like nature.
Only a true wolf.
But my parents just randomly bought this movie and then put it on, and we were like, that's cool. And then we went and saw Spirited Away and then a bunch of other Miyazaki. So my only like animated anime whatever would be Miyazaki, but I don't know. It's not that I'm against it. It's just that I'm not for it.
I grew up watching Toonami, and I got into mecha shows. So the original Gundam and Gundam Zeta, that shit is so close
Cowboy
to my heart.
Bebop too,
and then Evangelion,
Cowboy Bebop, of course. Never got into the whole the Dragon Ball Z thing. I'm not knocking it. I just never tried it. You know what I mean?
That's classic for me. I was like going to fucking because I signed up for martial arts because of Dragon Ball Z. I would watch DBZ with like my friends when we came home from school, and then we'd fucking go do Taekwondo together and. So I love DBZ, honestly. Like, I'm not gonna front. It's awesome.
Yeah, no, and it's not even a thing that I was like too old. It was just I don't know. I guess just not my jam, dude.
It's kind of like a cult. Like if you're not into it and then you start watching Dragon Ball Z and you're just like, what the fuck is this?
Kind of like Invader Zim. That was another thing that totally just flew right over my head, but not over a lot of other. Like I still see people wearing Invader Zim shit everywhere.
I mean, it's like pretty, you know, like the fan base for that show has like a pretty negative connotation at this point. But like Zim was awesome, dude. Zim was fucking hilarious.
And
Ultra PP, are you fucking kidding me? There was like, I think it was in like high school still. We had like the DVDs and shit. And there was just this one clip where this fucking hamster, like, just like turned into like Godzilla and he was walking through town. And then it would just slow down real quick and go, oh yeah, Ultra PP. And like we would just fucking like all get into my room, put the DVD in, fast forward to that one part, watch it, laugh our asses off for 5 minutes, and then just be like, all right, we're done.
Oh man, I went through this stint in middle school, I'll be honest, and we'll get into the show and we'll talk about Dota, I promise. I'm just catching up with a friend. Where I aspired to be part of the cool crowd and succeeded. Yeah, I know. I still feel sick about it. And was like part of that like cool crowd. And of course, like if you watched Invader Zim, you were out, you know, type thing. And that's kind of when Invader Zim. Yeah, dude, it was weird. Like it was weird. And then when I got into high school, I started playing in a band and then started wearing like sports coats and blazers.
Nice.
And then dropped out. And that's where it leads you. So don't go for the popular kids because they're lame and they miss out on Invader Zim and Dragon Ball Z. And then you turn out like me.
If you look at my tweet picture right now, I have it. I got when I was in like, I think like as soon as the show came out, I was in like middle school or something. No, was it earlier than that? It was earlier than that. I think maybe 5th grade. I have no idea. Anyway, I got an Invader Zim poster, and like right, if you look at over my like right, the left side of the picture behind my head, there's a fucking Invader Zim poster.
Oh, nice.
For my old, that show's great. I mean, that was just the best show. My sorry, I'm finishing a slice of pizza.
Hey, no, you got to eat and podcast.
The show.
Jesus. Okay, that's
it. Fuck you. Just wait. What? Can you hear me?
Don't talk with your mouth open, dude. Just come on. You know. Have some podcast manners. Jeez, dude.
I'm sorry. I thought I was okay.
No, I'm just messing with you.
A friend of a friend of mine, who I guess kind of a friend of mine, but she was like a really good artist, and she was like obviously, you know, into Invader Zim or whatever. She was growing up. She like turned into a weeb as soon as she went to high school and all that stuff. But a lot of her art looks fairly similar to Joan Vasquez or whatever. But right as she got out of art school, or maybe she'd already been out for like a year, she got a job doing the inking for fucking the like new Invader Zim comic that they were making.
Whoa.
So like the joke that she always told was like, yeah, they always told me that I wasn't gonna get any money just sitting on the internet and drawing Invader Zim fan art all day. But look at me now, and it was just like the funniest shit.
Dude, that is the tale of our generation. All the things, it's like my parents. I unfortunately have to see them more often because of the child now. And they know that I do this podcast thing, but they you know, like my mom's like super religious and she's like living in the clouds somewhere, like praying to, you know, whoever. And my dad's like this super like practical man's man, worked, you know, got a college degree, worked, you know, it does something with computers or whatever, and still doing that radio show thing. It's like, yep. And he's like, so, you know, when you gonna start working again? And it's like, I am working, you know? And it's like, no, that's not work. And, you know, one day when you get older, and it's like that when you get older line is getting really fucking old. Like I have a kid.
Yeah, it's like when you're 67, you're gonna realize.
Yeah, it's just like
it's time to work in a coal mine.
And I did work for a really long time and was successful when I was working. And so it's like, I'm going to do what I want to do now because I already achieved that bullshit. So anyway, my
grandparents love my podcast. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
God.
I mean, they don't know what the fuck's going on, but I like,
they're
I'm
like
very
proud
good
of
at
it.
explaining things. Yeah, they're like, that's my grandma's like, that is so cool that people like to listen to you because whenever I talk, no one wants to listen to me. And I was like, Grandma.
Oh my God, no, I don't have a single person in my family, including my wife, that listens, cares about this.
I mean, they don't actively listen. I just showed them a little bit, and they were like, "Oh, Gregory, that is so nice."
See, I get the like you should be using your degree. You should be using your degree. You should be doing this. And I'm like, all right, well, end up like you. No, thank you. But anyway, the story of our generation is you can be whatever you want to be. And that's what I'm doing. And I feel like my child will appreciate that. Honestly, I've been having these like existential moments in my life. Like, will my child think I'm a loser for doing a podcast about video games? And I came to this conclusion of, fuck it. Like, I'm doing what I want to do. And if that isn't the most admirable thing to do with your time, then he can fuck off when he grows up. But right now he's cute as fuck. But you know, like that. I feel like, yeah, you know, like
let's be real though. I mean, no matter what you do, there's a pretty big chance your kid's gonna think you're a loser.
Oh yeah,
not you specifically. I just mean someone in general.
I know it's gonna be. Oh, he will at one point. I know he's gonna hate me. I mean, it's just the way of life. You hate your parents at certain points, but I feel like I'll steer him in the right direction. Especially with Carrie Fisher and everything that happened. God bless her soul and her mother. Star Wars has been
to do with anything, but I agree. I think.
Well, I'm gonna guide him in the right direction. Put on some good cinema for him. Make sure he's playing with Legos. That type of thing.
All right.
Anyway,
you have so many Legos.
I have so many Legos. Oh my
so
God!
I don't need to donate any to your kid.
Did you see the time lapse video where I took like 1,000-piece architecture set and built something out of my mind?
I can't watch videos anymore.
Oh, yeah. I've
not since the accident.
That sucks. I know. I shouldn't have brought that up. My bad. That's why we do audio only, because you don't get any visual stimulus. But yet you still have this like empathic thing with Lone Druid where you don't need to be able to see. You know exactly.
I really don't anymore.
Yeah.
I have positional audio, so I can just.
Not even something to laugh about, but something that you could probably still play better than. Well, definitely play better than me.
The force is strong in me, or whatever the fuck.
The forest
was saying.
The forest.
No, the force.
Oh, I thought you said the forest.
I should have said forest. You're
the
right.
Forest is strong in me. That's hilarious. Okay, so Dota 2. Why we're here. Today, I wanted to cover a topic that, God, how do I put it? This topic has been huge.
Throbbing in you.
It's been
huge and throbbing in you.
Oh God. Yeah, sure.
Cover?
I would love to find a synonym to huge and throbbing in me, but yeah, that. And that's how much MMR matters for one, and how to climb MMR. It's one of those things that it's so big in Dota. God, dude, now I feel like everything I'm saying is something phallic.
Why?
I don't know. It's maybe the big and throbbing thing. That hits.
Oh, that's Jesus.
That hits close to home, I guess. You know what I mean? So, don't just sit there and make me like the awkward guy where the sound goes off in the movie theater and you're yelling "dick," and then all of a sudden I don't want to be that guy. The question being, how do you climb MMR? And when I first started, anybody who is better than me, I asked, how do I climb? I want to be better. I'm better than this. I am better than the MMR that I'm at. I know it for sure. You should see this. Let me show you my reel. It's kind of like skateboarding. Let me show you my skateboard reel. I can grind really well down down a pipe. Anyway, everybody asked, and it was always, some people were more direct, like, oh, you gotta play Shadow Demon. Shadow Demon's the way to climb. Or some people were like, you just keep playing and you'll get better. And then some people had hero-specific suggestions. And this is something that I just kind of want to put to rest, because I have climbed a pretty significant amount of MMR.
Oh, yeah, dude.
Over the past, month. And I will say that, if I were, given some award for, climbed the most in the month of December, I would get up on stage and I would say thank you to Proud. Because...
Oh, my gosh.
No, reason being is the conversation that I had with you, where I think this was off mic, but you're like, dude, you need to be better at Dota. It's you just had this talk.
Inspirational words, really. Can you just be better?
It was more like
possible?
It was more like a shamed father, where it was like, why are you this way? Why can't you just be like everybody else? Why do you have to be different? and for some reason, instead of me rebelling against Proud's want for me to be a higher MMR.
Every game.
Yeah, no.
I get 825 gold. It's the best.
And yeah, I have realized how, honestly, randoming wouldn't even be worth it if you got double starting gold. That 200 gold matters so fucking little in the long scale, or in the overarching game. I mean, it's oh my god, I'm able to get a Tango and a Fairy Fire now that I randomed. This is going to be easy mode now. Or I'm going mid. I can start with a bottle when I shouldn't even start with a bottle anyway.
Yeah, just now they have +7 damage on you. Great.
Yeah, exactly. And for a long time I was a null disbeliever for Storm Spirit mid.
Yeah,
null
you
Talisman.
don't buy boots either, so.
And boots, boots I've now I completely... It's not that I didn't understand it. It's that I undervalued it, like you said.
Yeah, you're trying to, you find conventional wisdom. You can, okay, how can I innovate and improve off this? Oh, I know. I'll try, delaying my boots for another item. It's no, you're not going to do that. Just don't ever try that again.
Yeah, and it was especially because I was a jungler, and I was like, I don't need to move faster. I'm in the jungle.
You just need to hit creeps.
Yeah.
Just hit creeps.
And then people were like, no, you can get to jungle camps faster. And I was like, dude, I'm so efficient. Boots don't make me get to jungle camps faster.
No,
I
don't need to do that.
And so for a long time there, I didn't. But of course now, especially playing support, the second I can finally get my head above water and buy boots, it's oh, thank God. This game isn't going to be a total failure. I got my boots before 10 minutes. Because lately I've been solo supporting. Ricky, Bounty Hunter, Weaver have been extremely popular. And I'm buying sentries and observers and upgrading courier and I get the lace before boots lately, just because it feels like just such an easier buy on support.
Lace is
so
awesome, man.
When I have lace and boots, not even upgraded boots, just brownies, dude.
Get them brownies.
Oh man, do I feel like a new man?
Good.
It's like one of those good showers, I don't know, go camping or something and get back. I don't even camp, but you go camping or something, you get back and you take a shower and you're like, I'm refreshed. That's how it feels when I get boots now. So
yeah, out of the muck.
Anyway, I'm on stage right now and I'm giving this long speech for my climb. And then I go back and I say, Proud, thank you, because you having this talk with me where Proud literally, I'm going to do my best impression, is Roland, I need you to be better. And I was caught off guard, but I could hear the sincerity. And I immediately went over to that Smurf. Now, the reason for this is even having a 60% win rate and being 2.2K, that would mean I would have to play more games than I was capable of playing to show a huge increase in my MMR. I would probably be somewhere around 2,800, I'm guessing, 2,900 by now with the amount of games that I've played, if I didn't just smurf and recalibrate. At this point, I feel like you can say what you will about me smurfing, but I earned my MMR, and I don't care what any of you guys say. I hit 3,100 with calibration and have climbed to 3,800. And that's within 17 days I've climbed 700 MMR. So I feel like that's the same shit. So like,
I will say if you climb 700 MMR in those days, which is legit, like that's honestly incredible to be truthful.
mm-hmm.
At the same time, like you probably could have climbed your other account too.
Yeah, but I don't know. I guess I needed that like clean slate. You know what I mean?
No, that's totally valid. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with like the way you went about it, but at the same time, like I don't want anyone to see this and be like, oh, so if I want to get, I gotta make an account.
You're right.
Like
that is misleading.
It is possible. It is clearly very possible if you like. But I mean, a big part of it. So this was a lot like when I was climbing MMR, when I was climbing rating, when I was playing a World of Warcraft arena back in season 3 and like 2008 or 2007, like that, something like that. Like we would just we would get to like 2300 or something, and then we'd be like, good push, and then we would spend the 75 gold, make a brand new team, make a new name, squids with bibs. This time we're gonna go for it, and we would just play from 1500 straight up. We would just win it, game, easy, get the momentum, feel good, get in our rhythm, and then make the push. It's like, oh, we made it 2400. All right, good. Let's see if we can do it again. Then we'd make another team. Win, bam, and we push straight up like 2,500 this time. Great,
nice.
So like we get that kind of nice running start, and you have a nice tempo, and you start from the bottom, and every game you improve a little bit, and you just kind of ride the wave of momentum. And a Smurf can be pretty similar. Like you get a clean slate, you're really feeling yourself, and then you kind of just like get there, and your skill kind of goes off on the momentum, and as you're playing better, and you're playing better people, like you're rapidly adjusting to this, as opposed to when you're just playing like 2200, you're just like
it's
like,
painful.
Same people.
Like, well, you blast past the 2200 mark if you are better than 2200 when you're calibrating, because it's like if I win like 10 games in a row, or if I win 10 out of 15 or 15 out of 20 games, I'm going to blast past that 2200 invisible MMR when I'm playing normal, opposed to the painstaking. I don't know. Yeah, I feel like that is wrong for me to say. Disclaimer, you can totally do it even if you're at 2K and you feel like you've been fucking around forever and it's time for you to... It's honestly, you do have less fun, but it's more rewarding, I would say, when you're doing these like climbs and really trying to improve your play. Like, I read a thread where there was this guy, he's like, I used to be 5.5K. I played like...
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, he's like, I played like 6 heroes, and the most liberating thing in the world was me not playing ranked anymore, because this game is so much fun when I can play any one of the 113 heroes. And it was absolutely valid. I pretty much stick to Treant, Venge, Lich, and then like Slark, I don't know, Slark, Anti-Mage, hard carries. I don't know. I play Luna. I've been kicking ass with Luna. And so, yeah, you really kind of do have to stick to like 10 heroes or at least for me to rapidly climb. And that can get old, especially when I'm playing my 4th Lich game in a row. And I know exactly how it's going to go. It's going to go exactly like last game. I'm going to be poor as fuck all game, but who cares? I want the 25 MMR. I don't want the glory. I don't want the ultra kill chain frost that's may or may not happen. I want to make sure that my carry has detection at all times against that offlane Weaver that is happening more often than ever is how it feels. I don't have...
Dude, Weaver sucks so much. Like, he's just not a
I know.
very good hero.
And he just... God, I'll tell you, even like... I would say this at 2K. At 2K, I would be like, yeah, Weavers just totally suck in the offlane. Like, you put a sentry down and they just will not leave. They'll just stay, even though they know that there's detection. Same fucking thing at 3.5 and above. Like, I put down a sentry, then the Weaver is smart. The only difference is the Weaver will buy sentries, and he's like, ha, I bought sentries and dewarded your sentries. And I say, well, I'm Lich, and I don't give a fuck. I'm going to buy like 2 more sets of sentries, and you're not, because you're a dumb Weaver. And then...
It's like, I wasn't prepared for this level of commitment.
Yeah, and I put it down, and then my PA continues to dagger this Weaver who thinks he can Sakuchi through everything and get away. And that's just not the case, and he dies all the time, and we win our lane. So, back to the climbing MMR. The way I did it was, I needed a clean slate. I played... It took 160 games of normal to get to level 50 on your experience trophy, level 20 on your profile. It's weird if you look at it. Calibrated at 3100, did all that. And it felt really, I was initially sad about 3100 and climbed really and kept climbing to now 38.
All right.
So
the point is,
how did I do it? How did I want to quantify? Yeah, I want to quantify how I did it, how to do it, and then also we're gonna have a segment later in this show on what the internet thinks on how to climb MMR. I've been scouring the internet for articles that are relevant to this patch, and just relevant in my opinion. Some are funny, some are serious on how to climb MMR. But first and foremost, Proud, I would love to hear what you would say to somebody who is like, I'm totally better than my MMR. And I know we got a question on Tuesday similar to this, but a more elaborate way. Like if I were to come up to you and I was still 2200 and I was like, dude, I know I'm a 3.5K player. What are you going to tell me?
I guess the first thing you need to hone in on is like, in what way are you a 3.5K player?
I'm super good at farming. I never miss a last hit ever. Even if there's 4 people in my lane, I'm not missing last hits. Never. I go behind tower. I ping things. I buy boots. And I'm a really, really good carry. My Sven is unstoppable. And so is my Slark.
Okay. So play a hero that can get if you get a nice start with your mechanics, it can easily transition into a lot of objectives and a lot of kills and like a snowball position. So like Slark is good for that. Sven probably isn't, honestly. Jug isn't too bad. Clinks is decent. Luna's is pretty fantastic for that. I mean, I'm just kind of naming good heroes in general. Shadow Fiend mid. So you need to figure out like in what way you're better than the people around you, and find what hero that can very quickly turn that into like a snowball oppressive advantage. Like if you're really good at farming and you say like, okay, well, I'm gonna pick Lifestealer and I'm gonna get like armlet phase boots at like 7 minutes or some shit like that. And then you just like go around taking towers and killing everyone. Like that'll win you the game. If you take that and say, oh, now I'm gonna play anti-mage, and you just like try to get a bunch of last hits, and then they like fucking aggro tri-lane against you, like you're never gonna be able to actually exercise that how much better you are than them if you're stuck trying to play catch up all day.
Well, I guess the question that I'm trying to get out of you, and I agree with everything that you just said as far as heroes being different, Lifestealer fighting earlier, anti-mage needing more farm, but the question that I'm trying to get at is everybody, and I'm going to say this including me, including pretty much everybody I know, thinks they're higher MMR than they are. So, I mean, what would be a good way, like if you were to watch a replay, do you think that you could pick out the person that is the best pretty easily? Like, if you were to watch, like, I don't know, you watched some of my games back when I was 2.2K. I don't know if I ever took any seriously, but I played a couple with you where I did take them seriously. I mean, everybody is going to tell you, I feel like I'm better than my MMR. I'm going to tell you right now that I feel like I'm better than my MMR right now, being 3,800. But measuring, like, truth and, like, knowing like what you actually are is important. So I'm curious, like, did you have these same thoughts that you're like, no, I'm better than this? Like, I'm definitely a better MMR than I am.
I have sometimes, but I mean, like when you look at MMR, what you need to understand is it's not a measurement of how good you are; it's a measurement of how good you are at winning pubs, right? So there was a time where, like, the biggest like plus that I had was like my ability to like draft and make calls and that sort of thing. And my mechanics really weren't that great, and there's like a lot of things that were just kind of wrong with my play in general, but like I knew how things should go, so I couldn't really turn that into MMR because like leading pubs just doesn't work that well. But when I gained strength in other aspects of my play, then the MMR came. But there's so many aspects to what makes a good Dota player. Like I see these people who are just total fucking idiots, you know, like Vlad's PA builders, that kind of shit. And then they just like they fucking just win and they stomp, and I'm like, how could you be a Vlad's PA builder and be so much better than me? And that's just another aspect. Like maybe they're not great item theory crafters, whatever, but their mechanics are just fucking incredible. Like it's so hard to pick out who the best players are because I can look at an item build and say that person is fucking stupid, but they're an incredible player. Like I disagree so hard with every way that Bulldog itemizes Lone Druid and how like allergic to any innovation he is. But he's so fucking good at that hero that like Fear can be the only one making Lone Druid work, and Bulldog still won't even touch it. And I'll look at them play, and I'm like, Admiral Bulldog is a much better Lone Druid player. Like even though Fear knows to itemize this way to like match up with this meta or whatever, the fact of the matter is like even though Fear's the only one who's making it work, like if I put these two players together, I would still say Bulldog is the much better Lone Druid player.
So that just comes with? Do you think that's just game sense with Lone Druid? Like he's played. Obviously, he was
just mechanics.
Just mechanics.
Like for Bulldog, it's just mechanics. Like he's just the most like talented mechanical Lone Druid player
for sure. And it's something that I've noticed because now that I'm in like this, like I'm getting close to very high skill bracket or something like that, or maybe hitting it. I've noticed that
you're getting high enough that I'm never gonna have to hear you talk about skill bracket again.
Yeah. Oh God. I was like, dude, my first high skill game, I won it. I was playing the Storm.
Oh my God, can you just?
Yeah, I know. Oh, Proud got the worst of it too, because especially during the calibration where you probably wanted to just scream, "Shut the fuck up."
It just like fucking gets me so hard when everyone's like, "Well, I played like a very high skill game." I was like, shut up, just shut up. Yeah. I just can't handle that terminology. It just shits me to tears.
It means a lot to people who have played thousands of normal games though, and then all of a sudden they pop on their Dota buff and they're like, oh my God, it was high skill. It was. I knew it. I could feel it.
I mean, like, we have MMR now though. You can just be like, oh, it was like maybe like a 3K game or something like that. Because like it means so little. Like there's such a breadth of range to what MMR is. And when you say like normal skill, I'm like, the fuck does that mean?
Yeah.
Because like I have normal skill games when I queue up with certain people, and like I'm not like, oh yeah, I played a normal skill. Like
yeah, it just meant a lot to me. It just meant a lot to me. And
I know.
So now I'm getting averages of like 3850 to 3900 is like my most recent average, and I do see people that they are just really good Bloodseeker players, or they are just really good uncompromising puck players, or really good uncompromising Tinker players. And even though Tinker so desperately needs a Lincoln Sphere, so desperately he's dying over and over and over and over and over, he's such a good Tinker player that, yeah, he's going to lose to the game where the anti-mage keeps blowing him up and finding him and abyssaling him and then blowing him up. But when he's not against an anti-mage, his build works. You know, when he's not against a direct counter, his build that he does or has done 400 times works, but he's not willing to change it. Now, when I think
that's the time when like you can't actually tell how good that person is, because in this game they're just garbage, just the way it matches up.
And yeah, I mean he's super good at like blinking, rearming, blinking to like chase. It's super good at like pressing buttons. Basically, is Tinker. Pressing buttons in the right order.
Strong mechanics.
Strong mechanics is I think Tinker, especially like being really fast to getting in the fountain, back out to the field, back to the fountain, blinking and all that. But there's just absolutely no innovation in this Tinker player, and he was just like, he came in and was like, easy MMR, watch this. I'm going mid. And we were up against an anti-mage, and yeah, he loses his shit because he doesn't have a Lincoln Sphere. And I'm like, dude, why don't you build a Lincoln Sphere? And he's like, I'm playing Tinker, dude. You don't know shit. And it's like, well, okay, you're right. On one degree, you're right. I don't play Tinker. I'm not a good Tinker player. I understand what he does. I understand how he works. I've played probably 30 matches of Tinker, but I think that you could go ahead and like skip 3 Dagons and just buy a Lincoln Sphere. Like, just
I'm not sure how I feel about Lincolns to counter anti-mage, but it's definitely an option.
Or
like,
I don't know.
Sound that bad.
That was the only thing I could think of. I don't know. Like
Yeah, like what else are you gonna
like
do?
Lotus Orb? It still hits you. It just reflects it.
Yeah.
I mean, I just
yeah, it's not like you can rearm the Lincolns, but yeah, I mean, like if you can avoid the Abyssal, it's like avoid the Abyssal, rearm, shift Q your blink. Like what else can you do?
And it was basically like our team's best player was the Tinker. Their team's best player was the Anti-Mage.
It's just not a good matchup for the Tinker.
No, and it wasn't. And he picked it into the Anti-Mage, and it was just one of those people that when I went and looked at
buffoon.
Yeah, and he was super proud. All 3 of his slots were Tinker, and it showed like 500 matches played. And I thought, this guy isn't ever going to climb any higher than this. Like this guy, he obviously has probably been somewhere around here for a very long time. You can't look at recent matches, so I wasn't able to see how much Tinker he's playing, but I was like, okay, well, if he's not willing to compromise on items, especially if he would have just had a Lincoln Sphere and we would have been able to kill the Anti-Mage and he would have been able to live, easily we could have marched our way literally and metaphorically down a lane and just won. But instead we lost, and I thought, that doesn't make a good player. His mechanical skill is great, but he's too rigid. And then I try and think about myself, like evaluating other people and then comparing myself to that. Like, am I super rigid? And then I think, yeah, I am. With Storm Spirit, there's not a single Storm Spirit game I've ever played where I don't rush Bloodstone. Where it's not Null, Tango, Boots, Soul Ring into Mana Boots into Bloodstone.
I mean, to be fair, there's very few games where you're not going to want to do that. But yeah, I mean, I'm sure some.
I mean, there's probably games like watching fucking Mad. He is an incredible Storm Spirit player. Watching Blitz, watching all them. I mean, they're Orchid first a lot of the time, and I don't get it. Cool. I just don't get it. I think now.
I guess that makes some sense because you can get the +3 mana regen on Storm with your at level 10s. Like you're not quite as Bloodstone dependent.
It makes more sense.
Yeah, +3.
It makes more sense now. But I'm talking like even before, where their ability to farm was so good that like basically once I get Bloodstone, I'm farming heroes at that point. I'm still getting last hits here and there, but I'm looking for those long zips. I'm looking for the skirmishes. I'm looking to participate in as many into basically I see a 2v2, I now make it a 3v2. Good luck. You know what I mean?
I get you.
And Orchid, I mean, like basically I see them build Orchid versus Quap because it's like that's super good.
Yeah.
You know? Now
you want to force the Quap to get like Yules or something like that.
Yeah,
totally
Yules. And I mean now, and you can Vortex. And then right when Vortex is about to end and she's about to blink, then you Orchid, and then and then the 30% damage after, and it works for them. Yeah. And I'm thinking, God, am I this way? And so it's just you're absolutely right. Like it's hard to quantify like what makes a good player because then you see. People who have great item builds but just shit mechanics, and they're still able to get through the game and win. So
I mean, this is something like if you watch True Sight or whatever, and you saw Kips talk to like Fnatic or whatever, and people talking about she's not that high MMR. Like, how can she like lecture these players? And her response was just like, well, I surrounded myself with people who are smart enough to actually look at the work I do. And there's a reason that they're listening to me, or there's a reason that like I'm getting hired or whatever. And yeah, there legitimately are some people who like, and people say this all the time whenever you get in a conversation with like, yeah, I'm like a 2K player, but like my knowledge is like 5K level. Yeah. Most of those people are just fucking stupid. But there are cases where that's true. Like I know for a fact that I know how to make item builds better than a lot of people. At least when I was like 4K, like I haven't gotten that much better at making item builds and stuff. I've just gotten like mechanically better at the game. Like I know that I probably had like 5K, at the very least like 5K ability to like know about the game before I was 5K, right? Like it's not like everything changed. Mm-hmm. So it definitely is something at that, like that's definitely can be true for people, but it's pretty hard to like judge it for yourself, right?
For sure. And yeah, watching Kips on that True Sight episode 3, I first met Kips at TI5, and she was dressed as PA, Manifold Paradox.
Oh, yeah, right.
And I had no idea that she was like a player in the esports scene. I thought she was just like cosplay, that type thing. And I went up and I have an interview. I need to dig that up because I was like, you are the best dressed person here. I want you to know that. You look fucking awesome. This is great cosplay. And then to watch True Sight 3 and then her being like, I wish I could have done more. I wish I would have told Jimmy not to pick Warlock the second time. And to think that, yeah, this is somebody that can't like click their mouse super precisely or judge a situation in real time and act as well as somebody who is a pro. But as far as understanding what other people pick and what items will work against certain teams, I mean, that just is research. I mean, you can do that out of a book. You don't,
Yeah.
But as far as playing the game in real time, judging a situation and acting on it, that is completely different. All right, Proud. Hey, let's take a break, and then we'll hear what the internet has to say about climbing MMR.
Asking the internet how to climb MMR.
So I spent the day scouring the internet on the exact question: how do you climb MMR in Dota 2? And I got some really, really, really interesting. Well, one really interesting piece here, and then one piece that was honestly not that interesting at all, if I'm being completely honest. A lot of people who. Anyway, we'll see here. So, anyways, So Hudson Buddy describes MMR as an S curve, and he says this, which I think was maybe the best way.
Wrong.
This was probably the best way I've ever heard trenching described, and he says. The perceived trench that everyone feels, it doesn't exist in brackets of MMR, but instead around your actual MMR. Imagine a bowl where your actual MMR is the lowest part, and your daily MMR is a marble that is placed in the bowl. As you increase your MMR, the marble moves up the side of the bowl and gains potential energy. It gets harder and harder to win, and the game pushes you back to the bottom of the bowl. Same goes as you lose more and more. The marble goes up the opposite side of the bowl, and then you rush back to your actual MMR. Imagine if you dropped that marble in your MMR bowl. In a lossless system, your daily MMR would just oscillate around that bowl, centered around your true MMR. And this isn't even about climbing MMR. When I read that, I was like, dude, that is so dead on. What do you say? Do you think that's a pretty good way to describe trenching?
Yeah, I like it pretty well. I mean, it doesn't really capture the fact that, like, I mean, the concept of the trench is like when the games are just like so bad that like no matter what you do, everyone's just a total fuck ass. But I mean, I like it a lot. That's a nice. It's pretty beaut, I would say myself.
Yeah, it is beautiful. But here's the other one. Here's basically what I found on the internet, and this is what you're gonna find most of the time. And this comes from a guy on Reddit named I fucking love Anti-Mage, and he says. There's one really easy way to climb MMR. Step 1, learn how to play 2. Sorry.
Learn how to play Dota
2. Step 0.5, learn how to play Dota 2. Step 1, learn how to play Meepo. Step 2, beg your teammates to pick Earthshaker and Lion. Step 3, last pick Meepo when the opponent's lineup is decided. Step 4, constantly change your name. Step 5, repeat until you are rank 1 on the US server MMR leaderboards.
Yeah, that'll work now, especially because they can't check your recent games.
Yeah, I guess it would work.
The fact
now.
that I can't check if there's a Meepo spammer in my games now is actually a problem.
They're scary, dude. Meepo players.
Yeah,
I'll tell you that much. Jesus, like I'm just starting to get into the Meepo players. What is it about this here? Do you think these people just play Meepo, or like? Because there's no hero that really like any.
Meepo's like. I've always thought Meepo is like one of the dumbest heroes in Dota 2, and not, like dumbest. I'm not like.
I feel like he's
like the way Meepo is just fucking stupid, honestly.
I feel like he's a lot like Zerg in StarCraft 2, where a good Zerg could be better than any Protoss or any Terran, like could be like had the potential to go much further, be faster. If you weren't constantly harassing
don't
him.
even bring up like racial discourse in StarCraft with me. I'm gonna be honest with you. That's just not gonna go well for this conversation. I mean, I know we're both Protoss, but
I was random.
I just have so many thoughts.
I was
I was
but you
were Protoss. Let's be real.
I was a real Protoss player. Okay, so Meepo I feel like there's some validity here, right? If this hero is ridiculous, if you're good at him,
yeah.
What, like, would you ever tell anybody, dude, you want to climb MMR, just spend 1,000 hours on Meepo?
Yeah, he's the ultimate hero that can just like take over a game by himself and unavoidably. And I don't know. I have so much to say about Meepo that like I can't even just be blindsided with it. Like if you listen to any of the earlier Theorycraft episodes, I'm sure there's so many times where me and Sam would just like get up together and be like, "Fucking Meepo, huh?"
Yeah.
Because there was a solid time when Meepo was like, everyone just agreed it's actually impossible to beat a good Meepo player. Like it's actually just fucking impossible. And then once like he started getting picked in pros, and like they would pick like Earthshaker and Ember Spirit against him, and he would still win. It was like when we was playing Meepo. It was we and No Tail were both playing Meepo at like the Frankfurt Major, and people were like, he's getting hard countered, but he's still winning. Maybe this is a bit much. And it was like, yeah, pubs have been telling us that for about a fucking 3 years. Glad that we finally figured that one out. Then now it's not getting picked in pros, and now it's like not getting any attention.
I see it still. I still see it, and I mean
not in pros because you're not playing it in pros, as far as I know.
Well, I'm a sleeper agent.
It's still getting play in pubs and that sort of thing. But I'm saying like the second it dropped out of pros, and now it's like kind of unchained again. It's like it was already broken before, and the only reason it got chained up was because it was like getting picked in pros and being hard countered and still winning. Whereas like now it's just good.
He's the only hero that I know of that you can gank like and successfully gank like 5 times in the first 15 minutes, and he still is level 25 when you're level 10 and has an Aegis and has a Scythe of Ice, an Ethereal Blade, and like 4 Dragon Lances, and just kills you, and you cannot kill him. And especially with Scotty now, I've been seeing that. I've seen that twice now. Meepo's getting a Scotty. Shared stats. There's a lot of
sense to that, to be truthful.
Isn't
I
that
don't know why you get Scotty?
Doesn't
it's got a lot of stats.
Yeah, doesn't Meepo share stats? That's the only thing he shares with his fellow Meepettes.
Yeah, but like E-Blade, Diffusal Blade, Blink Dagger, Sheepstick, like these are all items that are much better than Scotty. Like a lot of Scotty's cost is built up in like the debuff that it gives, and also it has like a point booster built into it.
Yep.
And only one of your Meepos is going to give the debuff, and you already have that Geostrike shit anyways, so there's like really not a lot to gain.
That's true.
It's been having like a slow on your auto attack, right?
It will stack with Geostrike now, though, so maybe that is why I'm seeing it.
It'll stack, but it's not like...
But it's only with the main guy who actually has the Scotty and not the other 4, supposing you have
and like what's the point of it stacking? Like you already have 5 people putting it on. Do you really need one more thing? Like the Scotty doesn't make too much sense. Like you want one E-Blade, you want a Sheepstick, you could have more E-Blades for stats if you want, and get a Heart if you just need survivability. Like there's plenty of things that you can build on a Meepo that do way more for you than a Scotty. Like you never really need to be all around better on Meepo. There's like very specific things that'll fill you out.
That whole blink,
anyway,
the whole blink poof thing behooves me. I go into bot matches every once in a while and try and do it, and it's just
muscle memory.
I can't do it. Oh, it's quick cast. Okay.
Yeah, you can't not quick cast it. Like you will fucking just lose if you don't quick cast that.
Because I try it and I get like 1 or 2 Meepos that maybe make it when I blink, and then the rest are like left behind, or I'm horrible at it.
Yeah, I'm a lone druid player, right? So you'd think I would like.
And an Arc Warden player.
I'm okay at it.
And an Arc Warden player.
Yeah, but I came to I could definitely play Meepo if I put in the time. I just like hate that hero so much that I just never want to. But like for my time playing it, it's not quite as much of a micro hero as Lone Druid or Arc Warden. Like those are, you definitely micromanage what you do. It feels a lot. It's the difference between like microing Arc Warden and Lone Druid feels a lot like microing like a Stalker and a Zealot in StarCraft. Like you have your melee unit and like a Blink Stalker, and like it's very dynamic, and every little movement you make is like this little knife fight that you're doing that's very cool. But Meepo feels a lot more like macroing as Zerg. Like,
Yeah.
it's just a big like quick button like combination of like, oh, I'll queue up on my larva, blinking, kill everyone.
Yeah.
And then like, farming is just like send this guy here, this guy here, and this guy here, and then I just kind of like wait and collect money. But there's just like a very big difference in how like microing Meepo is more of like a macro character, and like Druid and Arc were in a lot more micro, but I just kind of like got instantly turned off to how big the like as long as you can do a good blink combo, you're like kind of set. I don't know. I just hate Meepo. I'm gonna be honest with you.
He is the cheese of, and I'm noticing like I love it when 2K bracket you see somebody pick Meepo on your team, you're like, oh god, we lost. 3.5K, you're like, oh god, this may be great. Like, this may be awesome. Like, we might just win this game in like 20 minutes. This is great. Or you see that they're on the other team and you're like, okay, we know what we need to do. It's so funny how like a short 1,000 MMR makes such a huge difference with one hero. But he is definitely the cheesiest. The cheesiest
The other
hero
thing
I
is
can
like
think of.
Meepo is so good that if you are a Meepo player and you're not like 5K, it's like, what do you like? You must be doing something wrong. You can't be a good Meepo player if you like spam this hero and you're not high. Like, there's got to be something wrong with your play if that's the case.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, whenever I see a Meepo that's like not like I played some game earlier, and it was like a 4.8K average game or whatever, and I'm there at like like 50-80 or something like that. And then someone picks Meepo, but they're not the highest MMR. And I look and it's like a 4,200 Meepo. And I was like, awesome. This dude fucking sucks. And he's playing like Meepo against me. This sounds like great.
Dude, even like, I mean, you got to get to 5K somehow. You can't just calibrate there. And I see these Meepos just passing by.
I mean, if this guy's playing a lot, yeah. I mean, just the assumption is, if I'm seeing him mid-process, that's one thing. But if they're already playing a lot of Meepo and they're still like 4.2 or whatever. Yeah. If you're higher MMR than their Meepo player who plays a lot of Meepo, you're in pretty good business.
For sure.
Anyway,
okay.
Meepo discourse.
So the next thing I found on the internet, and this is from esportsedition.com, it says to climb MMR, you play high impact heroes, citing that snowballing mids like Invoker, Tinker, Storm Spirit, and Templar Assassin are ideal. They're capable of carrying your team through both the early and later stages of the match.
Yep. You need someone who can end, like, you need a tower hitter. If you're playing anyone who can't take an objective themselves, what's going to happen? You're going to get a big advantage and then tell these people that you think are idiots that you're much better than to, like, take a tower for you. Like, that's not going to go well. I mean, a lot of the skill of like being better than people is that you can like split push. Like if you know how to beat bots 100% of the time, to never lose to bots, all you got to do is just hit their base like once when they're trying to like end the game, and they'll be like, oh no, my base, and walk back. Yeah. Players are the same way. Like as long as you know how to screw with the players, like heuristics about what to do whenever anything is like happening as far as base damage goes, like you can split push the fuck out of them. Like I will never lose a game on an anti-mage against anyone who's like way worse than me, because I'll just like probably kill their base before they kill mine, even if it's 1v5, because they just don't know how to walk or whatever.
And a heart on it. I heard your discussion with Ursi about Scotty anti-mage. No, you get the heart because you're sitting in there taking a shitload of damage from the base. You blink out, you wait 4 seconds, then you go back into their base, and it doesn't even matter if there's 3 heroes there. You just hit the towers some more and then blink out, heal up. 3 heroes are there still.
Not even just the base, right? Like there's so much like, oh, they're trying to kill the anti-mage or whatever. Like they almost get you, then your team comes in, then you blink out. 3 seconds later, you're back to full health. You come back in. And you just play like a Slark. It turns you into Slark.
Yeah, it does turn you into Slark. And Heart has been buffed and buffed and buffed and buffed and buffed as far as like, no, 3.5% per second isn't enough. No, 4.5% per second isn't enough. 7%. 7% is what we need. It is really 7%. So like this item is meant. I feel like when I get that hard on anti-mage, I bet I have a 100% win rate on anti-mage with a heart. Maybe not. Maybe like a 90%. Like if I can get to that like 6th slot heart, good luck, dude. Because if you're attacking my base, I'm gonna be in your base, and you're gonna come home because you're gonna be like. I mean,
there's like a time and a place for everything, right? Like I wouldn't go hard 100% of that time, but I'm saying just in general, like my 6-slotted AM, it's very rare that my 6-slotted AM does not have a heart.
Yeah, I mean, I guess a really good Ancient Apparition maybe don't get heart. I don't know. I really can't think of a time where I haven't.
Even then, I would want a heart because like I don't want to be able to pop very easily.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't know. I value like it's like not being able to throw a game so hard. Like when I was playing some game with Eosin when I was playing Spectre, and I was still going like my Mask of Madness stuff that I really like, or I think Morbid Mask. I don't know. It's probably had Mask of Madness. And I had like Mask, Radiance, and then I just like built straight into a Scotty, and he was like, "Yo, get a Manta. What the fuck?" Like Spectre goes Manta, and I was like, if I go like Manta's obviously better, but if I go a Scotty here, there's literally no way that I will just get caught out and die and feed, and then we lose. Like there's no world in which we lose if I have this Scotty. I know Manta is a better item, but like the game is now unthrowable.
Yeah,
and it was like that makes some amount of sense, I guess.
And
that's how I feel about a lot of things. Like I kind of like if you're ahead, like build to make it so you can't just throw, especially if you have better late game.
Exactly. And too often, and that's why I said probably like a 90% on anti-mage, because if you do get caught out and die and don't have buyback, or you've already bought back or something on anti-mage, and you have to have the painstaking process of knowing that you're dead for 90 seconds or 120 seconds, and they just take your base, and you're like, oh,
yeah,
I have 20,000 more net worth than their highest, but we lose. Like, and that is an actual terrible feeling. Okay, so this comes from Join Dota. This is an article called "How to Actually Climb MMR and Improve Yourself as a Player." Basically, the TLDR is be well-mannered, flaming doesn't help, be constructive with criticism, two-way communication, be honest with your own skill level, expand your hero's role repertoire, be realistic with how fast you can actually climb MMR, enjoy each game you play, don't play when you have a bad mood, you'll feel worse.
Yeah.
I agree with the exception of enjoy each game you play. I don't. Sometimes like I'm in this like mode where I want to climb and I'm not enjoying, but that doesn't mean I'm not playing well. It's just that it sucks that I have this asshole anti-mage that I have to support to win this game. It like that's the truly shitty part is you have to let go of like personal like grudges in a Dota game, and a lot of people can't. But like even if this guy's name is like something horrible and like filled with like awful slurs,
yeah,
like, or you know, you still have to like as a tree heal him and make sure he doesn't die because you want that plus 25 so bad. So
yeah, and I mean you gotta infiltrate them. You gotta make them be so appreciative that you're so good at the game, and then at the end score screen you're just like, I fucking hate you, you fucking idiot. I hope you fucking die.
That usually I just
like, wow, well played, tree. And then I was like, I hate you and everything about you. Fuck everyone who looks like you.
Yeah, I report those guys at the end of the game, but yeah, I need the plus 25. So
yeah,
that is.
Yeah, I mean, I like
truth.
I like the PMA, the positive mental attitude stuff. I feel like that helps a lot. There was some point when I was climbing that when I was like streaming, and I think it was like Jam Kicker or someone was like, "Wow, I didn't know that you were so like so like pub commander or whatever." And I was like, "I'm really not. It's just right now." Any other day, probably not.
You
but,
are,
I mean, like,
you are, but
yeah,
you don't come across as a dick. You come across as like, I want to win this. Like, I feel like it's motivating in a way. Like you're short and you're concise with your speech, which is what you need, and you're not retrospective, which I appreciate. You're not the type of guy that's going to be like, what the fuck were you doing there? That was dumb. Like, it's already happened. You're going to move on. You're directing opposed to regurgitating and reflecting.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's, like, you don't see me too much when I'm, like, playing pubs or whatever, like, just by myself. Like, I know you watched some of my, like...
I watch you stream. I mean, whenever I
haven't
can.
streamed that much.
Yeah, you haven't.
Because I've been away.
Yeah.
I streamed some today, though, which was a very fun time, honestly. We played with, it was, like, me, Sam, Rabbit, Maury, and someone Rabbit knew. They're honestly super fucking fun games. Troll Warlord, it's so fun right now. Oh my god! I'll talk later about Helm of the Dom, man, because Helm of the Dom is such a fucking such a fucking like visceral interactive item. Like I feel like Troll Warlord is Lone Druid whenever I buy that Helm of the Dominator now. It's so cool.
Oh yeah, the Helm. I mean, I don't think Helm has ever been more incentivized to actually dominate a creep until now.
Oh yeah, like to actually fight with the creep, like
Yeah.
And if you've been watching streams of like people who build it, like they're scouting with the creep while they're farming, or they're like farming with it in like a lane while they jungle, or like I mean, people are actually bothering to use this item now, right? Like
whereas before, I mean,
there's so
Sven
much you
used
can
it.
do.
Sven used it for sure in 6.88. It was
Sven used it to stack.
It was integral, but yeah, it just stood in one place basically
Yeah,
and just
no,
stacked.
no one actually used the creep. They just used it to stack.
Or
Like, they
you'd
just stacked
see
it
people take
manually.
wolves. You'd see the wolf,
Yeah, and
the
then it
wolf
followed
take,
them.
yeah,
And
and
they
then
didn't do
just set
shit
it on
with it.
follow.
Yeah, but now I see people like
I take the purge creep,
sending
dude.
it in lane to farm.
That's what I
Yeah,
do.
the purge creep is good. I was using that some.
love
yeah,
it.
we were like losing to this Ursa and just like a pub that I was playing, and I was just like spam purging him and shit like all the time. And it was like so fucking game changing, honestly. Or I
to
had
kite?
like a centaur. Like I ran away and I was microing my centaur and I like stunned 3 people out with it, and one of my teammates managed to escape. Just like shit like that. It's so good.
It's
just
it's awesome, and it's cool. For what I like to do is send it down a lane because it has so much health that if you want to push your lane out, I just like hurry and shift click a bunch of just walk commands, not even attack commands, and just have all the creeps follow my domed creep to basically they're like tier 3. And and that way it's like, okay, good luck. Like, yeah, I know your lane will push, but for right now I need my lane to push. So this is how I'm going to do that.
It pushes super well. Like there was one game where I was like, man, I need to split push. I don't have like a manta style or anything, so I just pushed the lane up really hard as troll. Dominated a one of the big satyrs, the red ones, and it gave like the health regen, and it was pushing the lane. And I was just like throwing Hadoukens to clear the lane real quick, and like the creeps plus my satyr took a tier 2 by themselves.
Oh, nice.
Just because my guy like took the wave out, then once he was low, I just dragged the other wave away. And like it was honestly so impactful. Like they had to get back to save their tier 2. Like we didn't lose a Rax because I had this fucking satyr piece of shit just walking around killing creep waves by himself.
It's gonna
Dom
be
is so good.
It's
It's
gonna
gonna
be
get
interesting.
nerfed, honestly.
Maybe
I don't know what about it, but it's
made the
'cause, like,
health
it's-
the health they give the creeps. It's just like that creep turns into
Yeah.
like a
the
monster.
move speed is a bit much. Like
Oh, and the move speed.
425,
Yeah.
like, that's a fuck ton of move speed.
Yeah, probably like I could see like 400 and then a little less health, like 400 move speed, or like even
It's
375 or something like that.
How much I play it around the creep, and like how much it transforms the way that I play a hero. Like 1800 gold to that radically, to like the fact that I'm like, man, thank God I'm a lone druid player when I'm playing troll warlord and build Helm of the Dominator, because this feels very natural still. Like the fact that I have that reaction is a little bit off. Like it shouldn't be such a core item, and then new players are like, oh, I need to do that. Oh, like that's a bit much, honestly.
No,
Like I kind of liked Dom as like it was a decent, it was a good item, but like if you really wanted to amp it up, like make use of the creep dominator or the creep domination ability. But now it's just like, yo, just dominate a creep and it's incredible. Like that's maybe a little bit too big of a barrier for entry. And I'm not someone who's really worried about that in general. Like I play lone druid, but like even like when I build it on druid and I do the lonely druid focus build, like I don't actually dominate a creep at all. I just don't do it. It's because I can't deal with like me plus the bear. Because the micro playing the lonely druid is so much harder than playing bear focused druid. Like it's insane, honestly. Like I have 2 pairs of phase boots that I'm using all the time. Like it's wild. I love it.
yeah, I've seen people attempt it where I've seen a Deso and a Mask of Madness. Deso Mask of Madness on Scylla, and it's like what the fuck? Like this.
I'm honestly
insane.
so anti the new Mask of Madness on druid. Like I just haven't seen a reason to do it yet.
But I guess if you hit your Blood Rage or whatever that ability is called, and then Mask of Madness, like
which ability, W or D?
His third ability that makes him attack fast and run faster.
Rabid, W.
Rabid, or W, yeah.
The thing that's always up.
Yeah, so like I don't know. We lost that game, I'm pretty sure, but it was like.
I mean, like it makes sense. I just like the lifesteal aspect of it is so worthless on druid. Like I don't know. I like the Dom so much on him. I think it's so core when you're playing the lonely druid build, because there is this like space before you hit level 15 where it's really about you and your bear, and the Dom like gives you health regen for both of them, gives you 40 attack speed total, like tanks you up so you're actually tanky. and it's just so fun. And it's like very team oriented. It just like it covers your weakness window so perfectly. When you have a Dom and a Midas and one pair of phase boots, like you're so fucking strong just with that. And like what does the mask even do? You know, you just have a bunch of attack speed. Fucking fantastic. Like until you get a Maelstrom or something or the Deso, it's like doesn't accomplish anything. I don't know. I just like I really want the mask to be good. I just don't think it is.
Yeah, I don't either. I mean, I love what they did with Mask of Madness, though. I will say that
it's very cool. It's just
I feel like it's still it's not as niche as it was last batch, but I think it's awesome on Sven. It's way fun on Sven to like hit God Strength, hit E Warcry, pop your Mask of Madness, and just like fucking like you are a true warrior.
Yeah, use all your skills, jump in, stun, mask. You're just fucking off to the races. Here I go.
So cool. All right, well that's gonna do it for today. I hope.
That it? I thought we had something else.
We have one last one, but this is honestly, I'll just read it because it's.
Yeah.
So this guy is a 3K player, and he's basically like a 3K. Sounds like he's been in 3K for a long time and just bitching about 3K. This is Liquid Dota featuring this writer Zach Holman. He says the notes that he finds in 3K are players have bad mechanics, players are toxic, and supports are significantly worse than cores. Which I absolutely disagree with. I feel like supports are significantly better than cores, especially in 3K. Or I at least feel that way about myself sometimes when I watch these cores. And then I go on like a core spree because I'm like, fuck this. I'm not supporting these dumbasses anymore.
There have been a lot of, like when I was grinding, I was like 4.8K or something. And like I had some 5.6 was mid and then a 5.1 or something was safe lane. And then they just fucking sucked. And I was like, okay, like I am not looking at someone being 5K and letting them take my safe lane again. That's just not happening.
Yeah, like those numbers mean nothing to me at this point. And so I'm guessing this is like lower 3K because, and really you're a bad core if you're blaming your support because a lot of the things that the support does, you can do yourself as a core. So fuck off, basically, is what I say there because I've been supporting a lot. And then he says, the best ways to climb are self-evaluation, which I do agree. That's helped me a lot watching my own replays. Those moments where you're like, that's bullshit that I died there. Like, I felt like I was totally safe and justified. And then watching it when you can see everything and there's no fog and realizing how stupid you look is a feeling that everybody should go through at least once. Then he says evaluating others, just like I guess we talked about that early in the show. I also agree with evaluating others, like comparing others to yourself, like the Tinker who wouldn't build the Lincoln Sphere, that type of thing. Like, if I were in his position, would I have changed my item build? That type of thing.
Yeah.
And then winning the game before you. For example, expelling delusions of grandeur, like not thinking that you're a pro. Like, play the game that you're in, win it. Don't think about 3 games from now when you're going to be at that desired MMR. Think about the game that you're in now.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I agree with those statements, but to say that supports are significantly worse than cores, well, they made it to the same MMR, so they're not significantly worse.
MMR is MMR, like...
Yeah, so, whatever.
Don't need all of that support versus core bickering. You may run into supports that are worse, or that look worse because they also are core players because... This is NA Dota. I mean, that's Dota in general. Like, there's no regional thing. Everyone is a core player. And then if they're not, they're a holy angel, and I love them to death. Even like Ursi doesn't accept that I'm like willing to ever play support.
I see your recent played. I'm friends with you. I see that you play support.
Not very recent. Well, I mean, I've been.
I'm talking on your climb to 5K. But on your climb to 5K, you were playing support.
I mean,
you're a good Omni.
I had like a Night Stalker support game that I was like really happy with. But yeah, I mean, I played like our game where I played Lone Druid or whatever for our Theory Craft Thursday, like a couple games earlier, or like earlier that day. I had like 2 Bounty Hunter games or whatever. So I mean, I support. Whatever, it's fine.
Yeah. I do so much support as of late. Yeah. And I'll be damned if every single game I usually end the game with more net worth. Like, so it shows your net worth, and then it shows what you spent on everything, on like support items. And I usually, like, most of the time I spend more money on supporty things, like, because we're seeing so much Weaver, we're seeing so much Bounty Hunter, we're seeing so much Ricky. You need sentries. You need a shitload of sentries.
Now. Literally every hero
and
knows
Shadowblade, yeah. So pretty much every game I'm buying at least like 10 sets of sentries, meaning 2,000 gold is going towards sentries when I'm already playing a poor 5, a solo support 5. So I am definitely biting the bullet and playing a ton of support. And that's just because when I'm not going to argue. And I'm so sick of the arguing of like me putting anti-mage safe lane and somebody else putting PA safe lane. And the second they do that, I just concede and just play support. The only times I ever play core are when I put myself as core safe lane and no one contests it. And they're just like, okay, yeah, he put himself there as a core and we're going to let him play core. So unless nobody contests it, I'll play core. Because I am a core player, I feel like that is my best position. But lately, it's been all support because, I mean, like within 5 seconds of that game loading, you see the off lane's picked, the mid, well, not picked, but hovering. The off lane's hovering, the mid's hovering, and the safe lane's hovering, which means at very least I have to type like 2 sentences, basically pleading with this person to not play core, but to trust me enough to play core and support me, which I understand their hesitance. So instead, I just concede. You know what I mean? And just like, all right, fuck it. Hopefully you're good and you'll carry this game because I'm going to play the best support I can.
There's so many heroes that are like the talents make, at the very least, you have something to look forward to make the game not that miserable. Because like when you're playing a carry, you know, like the game kind of sucks. And then, at least when it's a bad game, like the game is miserable, but you're still looking forward to those items that you're going to get, and then it's going to be fun.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing with support, like, especially now with the 25 talents, you're just like, man, this game sucks, but, you know, if we drag it out, you know, I can be a bounty hunter with a 1 second cooldown on Janata, and I'll buy a Death, so it'll be hella fucking fun.
What I find fun is getting a good overgrowth, getting a good heal, getting a good leech seed, getting a good D ward. You know what I mean?
When I was playing a lot of Disruptor, like anytime I got a great static storm off, it'd be like, oh, I'm so fucking good. Or like my 5 Venomancer. Anytime where I'm like level 11 at 50 minutes and I force staff myself in, I press R and I just aggressively die, and then I go get a drink of water or something while I respawn. Like, I love that shit. I have so much fun when I aggressively die on Venomancer. Like support can be super fun. You just have to like, you can't just like go into it with the expectations of like, you know, like I'm looking forward to doing the same things that I would in a core game, like killing everyone or getting a bunch of farm. You have to like know what you're trying to have fun with, or like know what. You have to know what you're aiming at when you're playing a support.
I have fun with the plus 25. That's ultimately where I get the fun. So I get the fun in the game where it's like, I may get like a WP or like a, you know, like a all chat command well played or something like that. But the real hero is the person, like when I do a good black hole or something, because I've been playing a ton of Enigma, and then like a storm spirit zips from 1,000 units away, dead center onto it, and gets an ultra kill or something. Like the storm spirit looks
saying, like,
super
an enemy
cool.
Storm spirit, and I was like, man, this is gonna be hilarious that the storm just zipped into your black hole. I guess.
No, like I don't know, like that. I was playing. It was actually really good. There was a storm on my team when I was playing Enigma, and he kept zipping like dead center into like my 3 or 4 hero black holes, and it was just like bam, ultra kill immediately, because they were just all grouped. But I get satisfaction out of that, but at the end of the day, I get the satisfaction when you have that like moment when you're like, we're gonna win this game. Like this game, that just means, and especially when every game is your highest MMR you've ever been, it's really like you're in that same position at this point. Like if you win your next ranked game, that's the highest MMR you've ever been. Like that is fun to win a game and be like, this is now the highest MMR I have ever been.
And that's part of like, so, and that really like motivates you to try every game, right? And that's sort of why people feel the trenches, because they're just up and down. So no game feels like, just to kind of bring it all back together, like no game feels very important or very fun, because they're just like, another one of these games. Like, I mean, I've said before, like, you know, my friend Michael, who you met at, you know, he kind of stopped playing Dota because he was like, you know, I play with you, and whenever I play with you, my games are super fun. But when I try myself, I get into these shitty games, and no one fucking knows what the shit they're doing, and everyone just walks around with their thumb up their ass, and then ass is ashes. We all fall fucking down, and then we lose the game out of nowhere. So like you can be good enough to like be fine in these games, and like you play with other people, and like you experience the higher MMR, and it's something that you really want to push towards too. But when you do get back in your own games and like you're just fucking like down in the dumps, like this always happens around TI. I have a lot of friends who like watch TI and they're like, man, this looks so fucking fun. I wish I was playing like games like this. And then this happened with Skrunk's brother a lot. Like he plays a lot during TI, or when there's like a new patch he's playing with us, and then he queues up for solo games, and it's just like nothing. Like there's no structure to it. None of the cool, really interesting shit that like all the thought-provoking Dota that you're like, man, this seems really cool. I want to try this out and feel good because I broke the system and I can play really well within the context of like being a good player. And then you play by yourself and it's just like a bunch of fucking stupid shit, and you're you wanted to do safe lane, but then you got your lane stolen, but now you have to buy courier and jungle on fucking like, I don't know, on anti-mage or something like that. So like it's really easy to just play shit games and just get super demotivated. But and
it is. I mean, it
just like,
it especially
I'm just gonna do whatever. Fuck this world.
Especially when time constraints start to kick in, like I don't know, when heavy school load or having a baby or whatever, and you have like I don't know,
Well, that's just poor decision making on the person's part.
Yeah, but like when you can get 2 games in and then you have
win
those
one,
awful
lose one, and you're still at 20. And you win one for 24 and lose one for 26, and you're like,
yeah, and you're just like fuck this game. I don't even know why. Like that 2 hours could have been spent on Far Cry 4, and it would have been like I would have made a lot of progress in the game, and I would have had fun, and it would have been relaxing, and it wouldn't have been stressful. I've heard that argument made a lot, and really it just comes down to how competitive of a person are you? I don't know. I don't know if it really comes down to that. Like, I'm not calling these people not competitive or anything like that, but I've always sought out competitive games. I've always wanted to, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, like,
compare myself to somebody else.
It's like the point of like, this kind of discussion we're having right now, right? It's just like, we're just talking about, like what you can do to like gain MMR, what kind of mindset you need or whatever. And like, all these complaints are real. It's not like someone can tell you something and you're just like, oh yeah, now I never get upset at any game I lose, and now I'm just gonna like straight gain MMR. It's just like, it's kind of like a lot of things in life. There's no real answer to it, but the best thing you can do is like acknowledge the situation, know about it as much as you can, and just kind of plan your mental work around it. Like, yeah, there are gonna be some games that you play and they're gonna be really demotivating or whatever, but like clearly the climb is possible. Hence Roland or whatever, but also like, you can't just it's kind of like, honestly, it's almost kind of like mental illness, just not, honestly, it kind of is like, you need to understand that no matter, like, yes, there are flaws with like the thought process, and yeah, there are like there are some things that you just need to like acknowledge are obstacles, and you can't just be like, oh, well, I know this is a problem, so I'll just like ignore it and then, or like explain it away or reason my way out of it. Like, you're going to get demotivated. Yeah, it's going to suck or whatever. And don't be afraid to try some stupid trick like, oh, I'll just like make a new account and recalibrate. Yeah, that really doesn't have a lot to do with anything. And if you just played the games yourself, you'd be able to get up there. Like, I'm sure if you played the amount of Dota that you played when you recalibrated and had the exact same mindset, you would have been able to like get up to, like the MMR you are now, or at least very close to it.
Probably, but there would have been some raging moments. There would have been those.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Like, if you were able to just like have the exact same attitude in every game you played, like if you were a fucking robot and you just like destroyed, the mental game, you're just like just done with it. That wasn't even a factor. Like, if you didn't do this, like one weird cool trick that doctors hate you for, whatever the fuck, like that kind of thing, in making a new account, like you probably would have been just fine. But the fact is that like we're fucking animals, and our mental state is not something that we can just control. So do whatever you can to like get you in the correct like mental attitude for dealing with it, whether that be to like make a new Smurf or, like only play heroes that you have fun with when you have to support. Like, do whatever you need to cater to your own brain, right? That's advice that I've taken to myself to deal with all my like various mental illnesses and stuff. That's helped a lot. And also, I mean, like, everything is on a spectrum, right? So, and mental attitude in Dota is just like mental attitude in anything else. You know, like you gotta cater to yourself. Like take care of yourself, do whatever, have a good attitude, play good Dota.
Absolutely. Feel good when you play. Get a lot of sleep. Those are the times when I definitely have the best attitude and win. There is a lot to be said about feeling good and accomplished. Also, like on those days where you're like, oh God, I should have done this, or I don't know, when school's in session and like I should be doing homework, but instead I'm playing Dota. I find that I play worse because you have that like nudging in the back of your mind, like when you can
dark cloud, man. When you got a dark cloud following your head, that's how I've always felt about it.
Yeah, like when you can truly, like, I'm on break, or you know, I literally have no obligations for the next, you know, X amount of hours, and you can just play. You're gonna play a lot better.
I lost like 700 MMR in a week when I was off break and got like, I think I got 3.8 or whatever, and I was like, sick, I'm so fucking good now, time to just play Dota. Lost 700 MMR within a week.
Damn.
Yeah, that was my last winter break, but you know, whatever. That's just, you know, sometimes things happen. Sometimes you just lose games.
Yeah,
but then you get it back, so it's all good.
And it's tough, and you have to take the losses with, like, I don't know, a grain of salt. Like, even those infuriating losses, learning to lose is another topic for maybe another time, because I've been around people who just don't know how to lose and don't know how to just be okay with, like, this is bullshit, I'm sick of these 70-minute games and I lost. And it's like, yeah, well, that's Dota, you know, like,
welcome to the game you play. I mean, it's the same, like, I lost so much, but like I was in, you know, like a good week, because I'm like, I'm not a failure in life in general. Dota, I'm just playing bad Dota right now. So it was like, it was fine. Like I didn't get mad at all. I was just like, oh, lost another game, queue up for another. Let's figure out what's going wrong. Just play one hero so we can hone in on whatever problem I'm having. So like, I mean, even then when you're losing 700 MR, like if I was in a bad mental state, I would have freaked out, man. That would have been bad. Yeah. But I was fine, you know, like I'm trying to make it, and here I am losing 700 MMR like the second I have a time to climb. Like that's no good. But if you're in a good mental state or whatever, like you can handle all of it and bounce back. It's good stuff.
I mean, if it'd be pretty rough to lose 700, but at the same time,
it was rough. You make it back.
At the same time, though, I would still be like, hey, I'm still like 1,000 higher than I was. So I mean,
I actually, like, I calibrated at like 40, like 40-15 or something like that, and like this is like 2 or 3 years later after I calibrated, and I did drop below 4K last year. And like for like 1 or 2 games, and I was like, "What the fuck is happening right now?" Honestly, it was the weirdest. Like I was just losing literally every game I played. It was so surreal. But you know, like obviously there was something wrong with my play. But I just kept playing and kept working at it, and I got it all back. So, and obviously I'm 5,100 now, so it worked out.
Yeah. I do remember those swings when you would show your MMR and then all of a sudden your MMR wouldn't be showing anymore. It'd be like, oh, must be a bad swing. Anyway, this has been another installment of Proudland. Let me go ahead and give the plugs as best I can. You can go to defensetopatients.com. That's where you can download episodes, see things, all that. You can go email us at defensetopatients@gmail.com. You can go to YouTube, which is /.ptv1, twitch.ptv, Patreon, Defense of the Patients, Reddit, our Reddit, Defense of the Patients. Sorry, this is late. This recording ended up being super late. Yeah. Yeah, it's like already Friday. Like we're recording this.
It's past Friday.
Like
it's like Saturday already.
Some of you may get this like a half an hour. Like you're on your commute and it was recorded like an hour before. Like it's like as close to live as it's ever been. Yeah. You can go to iTunes and leave a review. Oh my God, I have that pulled up. We got a new review that I must read. That is absolutely hilarious.
Okay.
This is great. This helps us a lot. The review is titled "The Epic Story of .p." It's by Mini Ninja 4. It says, "This is an excellent Dota podcast that tells the tales of the good King Proud and his heir Prince Rolando as they struggle to thwart the no-good Ursinity of the Twin Realms, Sodium and Chloride. Full of helpful advice on becoming a better Dota player. Listen as the heroes prevail against Ursinity, zealot of the fire goddess Lena. Also, Rolando's friend Cyphus is a space pilot or something. I don't know. I don't know. It seems out of place, but whatever. He's cool people.
Dude, I honestly love Mini Ninja so much.
I mean, that was just full of like inside .p jokes. That was great. Thank you for the review. It helps us get better. It also helps our visibility. If there's one thing that you want to do that's free to help Defense of the Patients, go ahead and leave a review. Also,
another thing you can do that's free is give me money. It's not free in a monetary sense, but
but it's freeing.
Like
it's a freeing experience.
It frees me from the shackles of capitalism sense.
Also, Razzie, I want to say live on air, I know that I promised you a shirt, and I know that I'm bad at this. This is why we stopped doing the shirt thing in the first place. I have a shirt. I have a care package. All I have to do is take it.
Too, dude.
I have a shirt to give to him. All I have to do is literally send this package, and I promise you I'll do it. I'm sorry. That's all I can say. It's been a long time coming, and I'm sorry, and I'm super bad at this, and I just feel bad.
I want to give a shout out to wave.11.50 at Grumbleduke, who me and Ursi played a pub with today. He was very nice. They told us they liked the show, and we were like, "Oh, wow, so nice!"
Wow.
He was they were playing Viper against me on Lone Druid mid, and if you ever hear me talk about Lone Druid and when I pick it, that's exactly when I pick it. So I'm very sorry that you had to go against Lone Druid's absolute best matchup. That is basically unlosable. But you played well. It was a good game. Well fought, my good friend. And the cat that you have as your Steam icon is great. So thank you for playing the game.
Well, without any further ado, this is Roland for Proud.
Oh wait, can we harmonize real quick? I want us to kind of fuse souls a little bit.
Okay.
Just resonate with each other. If you can just hum with me, and then after a few seconds, I want you to just unleash like the sound of Roland. I want to hear the sound, and then I'll follow with mine. So we'll start.
The sound of Roland,
just like
my
the sound that you make when you're like petting. Like when you're petting an animal and like you're alone and you just like just make a sound.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and then I'll give mine as well. So, but we're just gonna go and just like resonate with each other. And then after we hit sufficient, you're gonna unleash your sound, and I'm gonna follow with mine. You ready? Are you ready?
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is like I will say this is the most ridiculous request I've had in a long time. I usually say no to this type of shit.
No,
but
we're gonna resonate, and then we're gonna make a sound. All right. This is for everyone.
Okay.
And I encourage you to join us and make your sound after, and then we'll all be together. All right. You ready?
Sure.
Let's go. Was that your sound?
That was my sound, yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's usually higher pitch.
Let's try again, because it sounded like you were just doing more reverberating with me.
Okay.
Right, one more time, and I'll wait for sound. Ready, set, go.
Oh, don't you worry.
And I loved your sound too, fair listener.
All right. Thank you for listening to Proudland. This is Roland for Proud saying thank you for listening to Defense of the Patient.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Catch you on the flip side.
Love you.